In this tutorial, we're going to go over how to create a drawing in Fusion 360 using the Titan 8M as our reference part. Let's first take a quick look at the Titans of CNC drawings to give us an idea of what we're going to be replicating. Sheet number 1 on our drawing is showing our basic shape of our binoculars here. We've got 3 different circles here, and these circles are the centers of these circles have a interconnecting line to them. Sheet number 2 is showing that we have a circular pocket and we have a hole drilled in both sides. And then sheet number 3, we have this O-ring groove that's present. So let's jump over to Fusion 360 and let's create a drawing. Very first thing, you need to make sure that you have the Titan 8M up, and the Titan 8M needs to be saved. We're going to go up to our toolbar and change our modeling workspace into our drawing workspace. The template that we're going to be using is our template that we created in a previous video, and you can check that out on YouTube, and then choose OK. Very first thing that Fusion is going to try to do is it's going to try to land our front view for us. We're actually going to change it from our front view to our top view. And we are going to use visible and hidden edges on this particular one. And we are going to change our scale to a 1:1 scale. We're going to place our front view right up here and then choose OK. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put in a section view. We're going to go to Drawing Views, down to Section View. We're going to click on the top view as our parent view. We're going to go concentric to the center of these holes, left clicking on both sides, and then pressing Enter to lock in that section view. We're going to drag our mouse down and then press OK, locking in our front section view. Next thing we're going to add in is an isometric view. We're going to go back to Drawing Views, this time to Projected View. We're going to click on our top view as our parent, and then we are going to click on the top here and move our mouse down to the bottom, giving us an angled projection view, or also called an isometric view. After we click, we're going to hit Enter on the keyboard, and we're going to change the visibility of our view by double left clicking on it and changing it to shaded with visible lines, and then close that out. Very first thing that we're going to look at is our front view. This is probably the easiest view here to dimension. We're going to go to Dimensions, down to Ordinate Dimensions. We're going to click on the top of our part and land our datum location. We're going to click on the top of our O-ring groove and then add our dimensions in. The bottom of the O-ring groove, the bottom of our pocket, and then the bottom of our part. Notice that our annotations are only going to the 10,000ths column here. We're going to change that going down to the bottom center where it says Annotation Settings. We're going to click on that and we're going to select the Display Trailing Zeros. And then we're going to turn our Linear Dimension Precision to the 1000ths column. Notice that our datum location is now stated as a decimal point with 3 trailing zeros. We're going to double click on it and change its primary precision just to 0. Once we're here, we're going to indicate that these 3 measurements are typical 2 times because we got 2 different pockets there. So I'm going to double click on it, go to the front of the bracket and type in 2x, and then the space bar, and then close it out. We're going to repeat that process on all 3 dimensions. Just like that. Coming over to the other side, we're going to add in this dimension for this bigger chamfer here. We're going to go D on the keyboard. We're going to select the corner of the chamfers on both sides and drag our mouse down. We're going to double click on this, add in our angle, just like that. And then lastly, before we're done with our section view here, we're going to put in a leader line coming off of this chamfer, stating that all the chamfers on the rest of the part are all going to be 10,000ths of an inch. And then this one thing I forgot was the quantity. All right, so our front view is done. Now let's take a look at our top view here. Top view is going to be a little bit harder. We're going to set ourselves up for some success here. We're going to first go to geometry and go to center mark. We're going to choose the center locations of our holes. And then we're also going to choose the center here of our nose piece. Once we have that in place, we're going to go to center line, and we're going to click on this flat area here and then the flat area on the other side. And then we're going to extend our center line out and to the center of those center marks. And that will basically indicate that that line, that theoretical line passing through there, is going to the center locations of those circles. If you want some further clarification, you can repeat the process on the other side. It's not really necessary. You only really have to do one side of the part. You can also put in a center line going down the center of the part for some more justifications, but for this example, it's not really necessary. Now that we have those in place, we're going to add in our diameter measurements. We're going to go to dimensions and down to diameter dimension. We're going to click on the outside of this circle here and drag that dimension up. We're going to click on the outside of this circle and drag that dimension up. The O-ring groove, our circular pocket, and then the innermost line in here, just like that. Now that we have our dimensions in place, I want to kind of reorganize these. So I'm just going to drag these guys around. Kind of organize them until they look good. And then our dimensions have some breathing room. and it's clearly understood. Okay, once we have those in, we need to come back and then add our instances on here. We're going to double click. We have 2 of these features. We have 2 of these features. We also have 2 of these features. And then last, we have 2 of these features. Next thing that we're going to do is we need to add some dimensions, kind of constraining the location of this circle. We're going to go D on the keyboard for dimensions. We're going to click on the center location here, and then we're going to go to the center locations of these circles, and then we're going to drag our mouse down. Then we're going to repeat the process, center and center, and then we're going to drag our mouse over to the left-hand side. In addition, we're going to go D on the keyboard, and we're going to choose that the flat area across here is 400 thousandths. We're going to put a little extension line on this. And then we're going to change that to 2x. And then we're going to type in our radius over here. So D again on the keyboard. We're going to click on this radius. And I'm going to cancel that one out. Let's click on this radius instead. Then I'm going to drag this up, and hopefully it works out for us. There he goes. And then this is typical 8 times. So we're going to put an 8x in front of it. Other than that, our drawing's looking pretty good. The only thing I really don't like about, and there's not much we can do about it, is see how our section is kind of in between this measurement here. I really don't like how that looks. I can move the section letter around. That's not going to help that appearance there. I think it'll be all right. We do have some extension lines kind of overlapping each other. We're going to go to dimensions, down to dimension break. We get this line, and these lines are all overlapping each other. So I'm going to add a break there. And that kind of helped clean up the appearance a little bit. Other than that, we need to update our title block. We're going to drop down to our title block. We're going to double click on the lines here. Our material is 6061 T6 aluminum. And then our revision is revision A. Other than that, this concludes our tutorial on how to create a drawing and Fusion 360 of the Titan 8M.